Hey there, happy Tuesday. I hope you are doing well. Whether you're watching this live or on the replay, thank you for being here. And I'm Claritha. It is Tuesday, another segment of Everyday Enlightenment. And I just want to talk to you guys today. I want to remind you of something that will hopefully help ease your mind and hopefully take the pressure off of you a little bit. And that is that you do not have to have everything figured out, and because you don't. And you also do not have to beat yourself up because you don't have everything figured out just yet. So having the feeling of figuring things out is a very old and outdated paradigm. It's a very old and outdated way of thinking about things that is incredibly rigid. And we get taught this at a very, very early age, and then thinking that we have to have things figured out all through our school, all through college, and then when we get a job, right? So kind of, be mindful when that's coming up for you, and be gentle with yourself because you don't have to have it all figured out. And if this is a large part of your thinking right now, it makes any time that you're trying to make a change or any time that you're trying to pivot in your life to try something new, the belief of having it all figured out can feel very limiting, and it can cause a lot of discontent. It can cause a lot of anxiety, and it can cause a lot of lack of, or the opposite of self-love, basically. So, we're going to try to flip that a little bit because that doesn't sound like a fun existence, right? Every time you try something new, you hesitate because you don't have it all figured out just yet. So I was talking to one of my coaching clients the other day, and I was saying that the only way we really learn something is through the experience of it. Right? The only way we learn something really in a deep and meaningful way is the experience of it. And, when we have all the access to all of the things now, it's really great, but it is different to learn something from a video or from a website or from a podcast than to actually embody the experience of it. And, because that's the feedback that we get from the experience is invaluable. The feedback that we get going through the things is nothing like anything else that you're going to get from reading a book or watching a video about it. And that's because it is so important that we get that feedback about, maybe more important, that we get feedback about things that we don't like versus things that we like, versus things that don't work compared to things that work. The feeling of experiencing something and having a feeling of expansiveness and love and joy versus the feeling of going through something and feeling upset, angry, and resentful, right? Those are two totally different spectrums. And so that we forget sometimes when we get frustrated about not seeing the way, we forget that there are gold nuggets along the path of figuring it out, right? And oftentimes we forget that there's a blessing in the experience, whether it's bad or good, but there is always a blessing in the experience. And so, have your experience. Allow yourself to have your experience. Make decisions, make mistakes, and it's important to keep taking the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step. Because, newsflash, we're not ever done. It's not ever fully figured out. Our journey is never done. And so we just get more practiced about continuing to figure it out, right? This whole life is about figuring things out, having experiences and learning from them. So there's never an end point, which is what I'm trying to say. So we get to keep figuring it out. And it makes it so much easier when we remain flexible. It makes it so much easier when we can hold compassion for ourselves during that journey. It makes it so much easier for us when we can forgive ourselves when we make mistakes or, find ourselves in a situation that, might not be like the first or second or third thing that you wanted to do, but like things happen, right? And so it makes it easier too when we give up sort of trying to micromanage how things are going, because the how is not our domain. The how is the domain of the universe, which I said before. So it's like kind of having an idea of how things work and what you want, but also not being tied to it in a way that's going to be detrimental to your courage to move forward or your desire to reach that end result. So your job is to listen, number one, and then take those little steps of inspired action. Take those little steps where you feel that intuitive nudge that like, ooh, okay, this might be fun, or this feels good, or, you know, all those like those positive feedback feelings that we get when we're like, ooh, there's a little bit of excitement and there's a little bit of curiosity, and it spurns us to take the next step. So that is your job to do that, not the how so much, okay? And so, you know, this obviously starts this sort of cascade of taking, you know, a next step and then another step and then another step. And then all of a sudden you look behind you and you've got yourself a journey, you know, you've got yourself a pretty exciting journey that you co-created with the universe. So that's really exciting. Is there fear? Yes. Are you bigger than fear? Yes. Does it take courage? Absolutely. But you can do it. This is what we are here for. This is what we are getting to experience, you know, in our lifetime. So you can do it. And at some point, if we shut this down, at some point, there's going to be a point where it gets really, really uncomfortable not to take the step. So it's up to you to decide when you're going to take that step, and you can wait till it gets really, really uncomfortable and really painful, but I don't advise that. We've all done it. We all know sometimes when it's time to pivot and we don't do it and we sit there and then all of a sudden we're like, shit, this is really uncomfortable. Now I have to do it. Would have been easier had I done it, you know, 2 days ago or 2 months ago or 2 years ago. But still also forgive yourself for that, because there's a lesson in all of that, and maybe you'll move sooner next time. So it takes courage to move forward. It takes courage to step into the unknown, and the fear is there to kind of keep you on your toes. So it's all a blessing. And so, you know, continue to cultivate that relationship with yourself. Continue to cultivate your own knowingness, which is why I think meditation and time in silence is just so brilliant. And then start to take a step, start to create and see what unfolds for you. So I hope that was helpful. I'm sending you so much love and hope you all have a very, very lovely week.